just thank everybody again for coming today and joining with us live. So great to see you all, names and or pictures. And yeah, thanks for being here. It's helps so much to be together in this way, like
Oh
the way
yeah,
we
very
can right
nice.
now. So nice. Thanks.
Okay, so I guess everyone received the first booklet, right?
Right.
Of the, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so everyone read it. So let's start with questions first, and then we get into practice, just in case more people are late coming in.
Yeah. Have at it. You can unmute yourself and ask a question, or you can type it into the chat. Once we get going and Gilles talking, then more so type it in the chat first. But if you see it, if it sounds like an opportunity, if you're saying any questions, you can try to unmute and just talk. Or if you type in a question and I ask it for you, then feel free to chime in and clarify as Gilles answering.
Okay.
Any questions off the bat?
Then I'm gonna get more into details. Last week we did the one practice that was very important on the perspective on Earth and the zone of influence, like starting from oneself, getting to that intelligence. That's for me extremely important because that's body's intelligence. It's the intelligence you use all the time when you look at the menu in the restaurant and try to see what are you in appetite for. So that's the intelligence you use when you cook, when you basically when you do something physical, when we do sport, for example, when you play, you have to be present and you have to be spontaneous. So that's the intelligence that comes out. So this is the place where, in our perspective of Chinesan Tao Touch, is the place where healing is coming from. So that the intelligence that's always present is right here, and the place that gives you answers. There's no question really that comes out of that place of that intelligence. Okay, that's very important to understand, because most of the practice we're going to do is to get access to that intelligence. And you're going to see that there is a tremendous amount of information that's kept under the conscious level. So that's what we need to access. You have to look at the physical intelligence being in the present. So present means what? It means you have all the information from the past right here, and you're starting to step into the future. And you're dealing with what's going on right here, right now, within yourself. Okay, any questions about that? Any about that earth intelligence? No questions? And continue. If you have a question, just wave, because I'm not sure, because I am not able to hear everyone. Okay, but if you wave, I might be see, someone in there. Okay, I cannot hear you, David.
Or type it into the chat, and then I can ask the question when it's appropriate.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's another way.
Because I see only two people on the chat.
Yeah, because you're not going to see everybody in this grid view either, so waving won't necessarily.
Okay, good.
work.
Okay, no problem. Getting in touch with the technical aspects of the Zoom. Okay, how many people in attendance about, David?
Today, right, so far there's 27.
Okay, so that means there is some people that are familiar already that took the class, some people are not familiar at all. And I want to say, especially for people not familiar at all, that sometimes when I talk about something, you have no idea what I'm talking about. And if you think that the question is kind of like a stupid question, I mean, that's the important question to ask. And I love them. What most people call stupid questions, those are my favorite, because that gives me opportunity to really answer and remind everyone what's most important. Because if you think that the question is stupid, it's because it's very fundamental. It touches something that's important for everyone. Okay, so don't hesitate. All right. So let's do a practice again and to review what we went through last week on the Earth intelligence. I'm going to start to introduce the other intelligence within it. Okay, so on your marks. Sitting comfortably. Let me get to the coffee here. And very important is the breath. We're going to get in that intelligence soon, connected with breath. But breath brings that function, a mental function that's able to bridge all the intelligences together. It's the mental intelligence. It's about feelings, about touching. So breath, wherever you breathe, you're in touch with. So very important to be in touch with the part of the body, because the teaching is not so much about trying to remember things. It's about integrating the knowledge within yourself. So that's why I always start with the earth intelligence, which is the body's intelligence. Okay? So let yourself sink as you inhale. And you just breathe a little deeper and send your breath toward your back. I'm going to work a little more on the breath here. So breath toward the back means what? That means you have an abdomen, and because our eyes is front of us, you think the abdomen is just in front of you. No, the abdomen is a whole sphere, and the sphere, there is a back of the sphere. So if you try to lift the back of your rib cage, you just bend over a little bit and breathe toward your sacrum, you're going to see that your abdomen expands anyway. The front of your abdomen expands anyway, but this time with no effort. So you want to get that feeling that you open like an umbrella all around, not only the front, but all around the side of the ribs, the back of the ribs. So gently, sending your breath down to your pelvic floor, to your sacrum, and then let it raise gently to your shoulder blades. Don't force. It might not be easy, especially if you're beginning that work. But little by little, every day is going to get better and better. But just having that feeling of having the whole sphere expanding in all directions. So let yourself sink as you inhale, and you push your body weight comfortably down as you exhale. And then be aware of yourself. Be aware that if you can make yourself a little more comfortable, please do. I'm not one of those practitioners that require people to sit in a weird way, in order to meditate. You don't have to be sitting in lotus or half lotus. No, you have to be comfortable. So if you need a chair or even an armchair, that's just fine. Okay. So adjusting. So if you're comfortable, and be aware, of your body, of yourself, and then where you are, and what's supporting you under yourself, the ground under yourself. So be aware that you are yourself an extension of that ground. And we're plugged in. We're plugged in to the earth, and we receive that life force from the ground. We receive life force for many directions, but that one is dominant. And that's the one that supports us. So we're plugged into that network of energy that comes out of the ground. And connect as you inhale, you sink, you go toward it. And you exhale, you plug in a little deeper to receive called unconditional support from the earth. No matter who you are, what you do, what you don't do, it doesn't matter. As soon as you're born, you receive the energy. And be aware of that network of energy being plugging into everything alive around you. All the animals, the plants, the trees, the grass, everything that's alive. And connecting with the fact that we're part of the same network. We call an ecosystem, biological system on the planet. It's a vast network, and it's very much alive. It's very, I mean, any crack, in the pavement, any crack on the road, grass is going to grow, a plant is going to come out. So it's a very vital force. So be aware of absorbing that force and how we use it. In order to be part of this existence, a part of this world, we need to absorb it because we're made of it. And to be born is not enough. We need to keep ourselves alive. And to keep ourselves alive, we need to nourish ourselves from the world. So we have to eat. And from the existence, meaning that vitality we get from the ground gives us also appetite for life. Be aware of that nourishment we get from the ground, and that enhances our capacity to have an appetite for life. What do we like in life? And what do we like in life is how we manifest in life. So connecting with the zone of influence around you through what you do and what is done to you. That's action, reaction. Goes both ways. So I wear that shirt, so I have to buy it. I have to get a place to get it. And wherever I buy it, they got it from someone else. And then someone designed the shirt, someone made the shirt, someone grew the cotton to make the shirt. We're all connected. So the zone of influence is quite big. And the food we had for breakfast was not grown yesterday or even last week. It takes a whole year for a crop to come out. So be aware how much influence, how much of a footprint we have on existence. And that, that footprint is quite big. So be aware of your influence, your presence. We call zone of influence. So keep that awareness of being here and now and extending a zone of influence that starts to go toward your back, toward the past. And the cotton that made the shirt has been put in the ground and out of the ground a long time ago by someone you don't know, in a place you don't know, but it's there, exists. The food you ate, all this coming from the past. So in the past there's water. I see the water back there. And we're starting the past influence our present. Not only through just our zone of influence, but also before we existed. We exist because we have a past already. So our presence right here, right now, in the present, comes from events that existed way before we were born. So the past. And we're getting more into water intelligence there. Because in the past, we learned a lot of things from the past. And we didn't learn maybe personally, but that is being transmitted to us, through genetics, through whatever it is that put that knowledge in our bodies. All the lessons learned from our ancestors, and whatever we carry at the biological level that allowed us to be the way we are, genetic backgrounds. And now we're going to make that meditation of water a little deeper. We're going to filter that water in the present. And water is very particular. It's very rich. But in order to be drinkable, in order to clear our thirst, we need to have clear water. So make sure we don't get everything coming from the past. It'll be very muddy. So in the present, we're filtering out what we don't need from the past. But we need to keep. You don't want to have pure water. Pure water is poisonous. It kills you if you drink only pure water. Now, it has to have all the minerals and all the oligo elements that you need in your body to keep you alive. So only taking the very best. Filtering the water. So connecting your mind from the past, and only connecting with the very best. And we have a big problem in this civilization, in our educational system, that the whole history, it's funny, this civilization is one of the rare civilization of the world, humanity, that studies history. Interesting, huh? But history we learn in school is mostly about war. It's about disasters. It's about diseases. It's about plagues and everything. Don't connect with that. Remember that we connect the water of the past to filter out only what we want in the present. And the present, we're starting to make the future. We're creating the future. So we don't want to bring the disaster from the past into the future. And the future is about spirit. Spirit is about the law of attraction. So spirit is not going to choose the best or the worst. It's going to choose only what you put your energy on, where you put your attention. So if your attention is constantly on the past, that's very bad. You're creating a bad future. So don't do that. Connecting with the best of our history. So if you want to take your mind out of what you learned in school about the wars and everything, connect with progress instead. And there's not only weapons, in technology, there's all kinds of progress of technology, communication, agriculture, the progress of different kind of food, the evolutions of food, that's history. The evolution of music, so important. Everything cultural that participates to the raising, to the betterment, to improvement of human consciousness. That's what we want to bring in the future. We want to bring called healing, which is improvement. So connecting with what is it in the past that you want to bring into the future. What you like in cooking, what you like in the specificity of your culture, of your ethnic, of your, everything that makes you feel good. about your past. Music, the playing, the traditions. I think that's really worth.
He froze. So
Question?
unfreeze. Oh, you froze for a minute there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, but internet connection is not so good sometimes. Okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
Is there a place I need to repeat?
It was just the last like 30
Okay.
seconds.
So basically, it's quite simple. I keep repeating something over and over anyway. Connecting. That's what meditation is about. And connecting only the very best from the past. Bring that to your present. What is it from the past that you like? Even what you have, what you already use. And your favorite things, favorite kind of music, rhythm, of dances, of arts, any form of whatever participates to the good quality of life that's coming from the past, and you want to bring in the future, and where it is right here, right now. How can you improve it for yourself? Connecting with that. So basically, you let yourself float on water, developing a positive relationship with water. And the fear of water is something that's, again, it's emotional, so it's not rational. So it's very important to develop a positive relationship with water, because that's the relationship you have.
Technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Okay.
Oh, you're back.
Okay, I'm back. All right. So I was saying, connecting with the very best of your past and let yourself float. Let yourself float on the water. Don't sink. Water is designed to bring you up to the surface. So let yourself float. And you feel like you have that past, but from the top, you have clear water. Not only because the sediment sinks by itself, is denser than water, but also you have the sun rays. The future, the spirits wants a good future. Because already what it does in the present, the light, you have UV rays that clear the water out. And that's a very important dimension in water. When water is exposed to the sun, it creates actually an extra molecule in the oxygen in there, H2O3. So that's eventually turns it to something even more, H2, H2O2, H2O3, that's ozone. And that really kills all the bacteria, purifies the water. All you have to do is expose it to the sun. So just the idea of what you want to transmit to the next generation. That's what it's all about. So connecting with that. And connecting with the very best from your past that you can use right here, right now, in the present, and transmit it to the next generation, to the future. So in front of you, there is the sun, there is the light. You don't have to be on the beach. It can be just in front of a window, it's fine. People say, oh, you have to be in nature. Well, cities were built in a country. So even cities are in nature. But it's the nature of the city. It doesn't matter. Nature is right there. Again, we're saying that you have a crack on the pavement, something's going to grow out of there. Even in the middle of the densest of all cities. Or it takes a little moisture and a little light. So connecting with nature, and the water in your back, the sun in front of you, attracting you toward the future, and the present right here, right now, with the whole zone of influence. We're starting the future. So that's called the spiritual axis. Again, the spiritual axis is those mental capacities and those intelligences we share. We share the past with everyone that's in the past. It's quite crowded. But also the past generations, like our inner bloodline, our proper bloodline. So even in a bloodline, not all ancestors are good to connect with. And usually those are the ones we remember we don't want to. So again, don't connect, no judgment. What you connect with is gonna bring in the future. So the ancestors you don't want in the future, don't think about them. Connect only with the good ones. And if you don't know any good ones, just call them. They'll come to you. Because if you exist, if you're there, it's because you want it. So someone in your bloodline wants you alive, doing something important for them. Life is always unfinished business. There's always something to take care of that was not being taken care of before. And especially for the healing process. And we're able to heal this current generation with the work, big work we have to do, a big part of our life purpose is to heal from stuff that our ancestors were not able to. And there's a lot of things we're not able to heal ourselves. So that's going to be passed down to the next generation. But that's okay, because next generation, they will be able to do things we couldn't do ourselves. We don't stop life anywhere here. We're continuing. So make sure that you don't pass only diseases and things we need to heal from, but we're passing also very good things, very good support, good positive energy, good consciousness that allows healing to go on without suffering. That's the important part. We don't need to suffer in order to grow as a person. And we don't need to go through crisis. We just need to learn. So be aware of the line, spiritual line, the past we share with others, the present we share now with everyone alive around us, and preparing life, already starting now. We're preparing today what is going to happen tomorrow and the rest of the future in front of us, and make sure there's a lot of light there. And bringing only the very best. Now we're filtering the water right here in the presence with our bodies. And that's the fusion that we're going to do eventually. Being able to filter out all those emotional issues. So we clear out whatever we can clear out in the present with the earth. In the same way, earth filters water, spring water. So feel that water from the past in your back being filtered out in the present. And you send it in front of you. We expose it to the light. Make a nice fountain. Okay. So let's take a little pause and see if there is any question. If there's no question, then we're going to get into this next axis of intelligence, which is the soul axis.
I have a
Yes.
I sometimes visualize the water coming literally from my back
Mhm.
and then going through my body into a future, as if there's a timeline going through me.
Exactly. Well, there is. It's called the spiritual line.
Yeah. And sometimes I feel like I'm drawing the water up through my feet into
Uh-huh.
the earth of my body,
Yes.
and that I'm being inspired by the sun literally above me. And so I get,
Yes.
yeah.
So that's the meridian system, the kidney meridian that comes from the bottom of your feet, that goes up, the into the kidney meridian, and then connects with the we call the not cardiovascular, the pericardium, pericardium, which is actually represent the endocrine system in the body. And so you have water goes from the ground up. We call the fountain of life, and the macrocosmic orbit for the Taoist, whatever. But that's the direction of the energy. And the past, the ancestors are in the ground, and we bring that energy up to consciousness, toward the light, toward the sun. So yeah, this is good. Mhm.
So I got the sense as you were speaking that neither is wrong, both are right. And it's almost as,
Exactly.
but Gilles, that's hard for me.
Well, we don't do it because it's easy. We
I
do it
understand.
because it's good.
Yeah, maybe that's why it shakes me. But the notion I got was that it's as if I have a compass
Yes.
and I can pay attention to it being sensitive in either direction, but it's still the same compass.
Exactly.
Uh,
When you're on Earth, Earth is round. Anywhere you are on the surface of Earth, up is toward your head and down is toward your feet. So South Pole, North Pole, doesn't matter, even if you're on the equator. And the direction is all going to be the same. It's up toward your head, down toward your feet. When you went to outer space, there's no up, no down. And there's no back, no front. I mean, that's the dream time for you. Very abstract, but very real.
yeah.
Mhm.
And disorienting.
That's right. They're orienting because of belief system we have to make it easy to understand, because our rational thinking intelligence is not strong enough to have a wider grasp. So we're developing little by little. Yeah. Okay.
Widad, did you want to ask a question? Oh, okay. Widad says, it all happens at the same time.
It happens in the present. In the present, you're the center of space-time continuum in the physics, meaning that you're center of the wheel. And that center basically is right now, and right now you have the whole of a space-time continuum. You have eternity right there. So that's what in Zazen, in Zen practices, the meditation about being present is actually being able to be to that place where you have the hub of the space-time continuum. That means that from there you have the whole of eternity. So not only the past, the future. Well, this is one, the one, the big one. See, that's also a bit that's what I hope you read in that first booklet, that notion of a Western about singularity, one being only one, the one. But from the Asian perspective, especially from Buddhist and Taoist, the one is that this is the circle. The circle you see on paintings, Zen paintings and Taoist temples. That one is not zero. The zero doesn't exist. This is one. So that's the one, that's the whole one, the bit that englobes everything, but also the very one at the center of the wheel. And that's the singularity, that's the origin of the whole of existence, and like a Big Bang. Mhm. So the singularity is a easy perspective for poor brain that's not developed enough to allow the whole of the intelligence, rational thinking to go through. We don't have this infrastructure. So we have to take it on one bit at a time, present, past, future, you know. Cannot have all of that, but it is like that. So with that, so can I have your question? No? Okay.
She might be typing something, but Melissa had a question. Oh, yes. Yep.
That was your question. Okay, cool. Very good. Very nice. Okay, so we continue. Ready? We're going to get to the soul axis. And with spiritual access, we share with a lot of people. We share with everyone. And the soul access, that's personal. We don't share. That's ours. So the two aspects of them, let me get this sip here. This one, the direction is not so much on the back and the front, or left or right. It's from inside to outside, yin and yang. Okay, so that's another something not so easy for Westerners to really grasp, because it's not only inside and outside, it's the function really that makes it. For example, difference of yin and yang for your hands. If you make a fist, the knuckles or that's the yang part. That's active. It's the one that that's put in use. That's the parent. That's right on the surface. But the inside of the hands is the supportive part. That's the yin part. So it's hidden. It's inside. But it's, I mean, if you cannot have, you cannot have your yang part, your fist, if you don't have the inside of your hand. So that's yang, that's yin. But then if you use your hand, if you slap instead, then the inside of the hand becomes yang. And the back of the hand becomes yin. Right? So the back is going to be supportive. It's not necessarily hidden. It's just on the background. Okay? But the active part is what you use. That's what the yang part is. So the yang part of your mind, personal mind, of your soul, that's your belief system. And the belief system is made of what you learn through rational thinking. So belief system is a very important part that gives you what we call sanity. Sanity means a frame, a perceptive mental frame that we can share with other people. So basically, that's the part that's in contact with the rest of the world. And so your knowledge, everything we know, everything that constitutes our belief system is not only personal. We borrowed all the ideas, all the information we learn always from other people. Okay, so that we share, but our own belief, what we use that knowledge to create a belief system for ourselves, that's personal. So even though we've been through the same school and received the same kind of education that a lot of people, you know, my way to put all this information together into a belief system, that's my choice. That's the way I constitute it through what I learn. Okay, so that's rational thinking, and that's the energy that feeds that intelligence we call wood energy. So why wood? Because big W, capital, uppercase W, because it's not wood. It's not a piece of wood, even though it's really woody. It's okay, but it's the energy that makes wood possible. So the energy that rules wood is a growing energy. That's a wood. It's a green. It's a green wood. It's not a dead brown wood. It's the energy that keeps the wood alive, and it's very vital. So basically, it's your capacity to learn, capacity to have knowledge. There's no end to it. It can only grow and grow and grow. And you can always understand better. And what you understood, you thought that was the truth last year, you change your leaves. You drop the old dead leaves and grow new leaves. Now you have new information can come in. You have to adjust your belief system. And so you change your leaves, every year, but your trunk remains the same, and it grows. You become a bigger tree year after year by growing your knowledge, by cultivating your belief system. Any questions about that? And that's done through rational thinking. So rational thinking is designed to learn, and it's a very extraordinary mental function. Why? That because it is the only mental capacity that's able to step out of the present. Thinking is not present. Why? Because actually thinking is too slow. It cannot be spontaneous. He has to take the time to consider, to assess, to see, to take the better choice, actually. And so the job of the wood intelligence is to give you the widest spectrum of possibilities, of mental possibilities. So different theories, different paradigms, even different perspectives, different choices. I could do this, I could do that, or many things. So that's the job of that wood intelligence. It's like you're growing a forest. But sometimes growing a forest is too much. You cannot go through it. You cannot see through it. You need to go look for clearing a little bit, or climb a tree to see what's above, or get to a place, it's a prairie. It's still wood, it's still grass growing, things like that. But you have a wider perspective. So that's why so many different landscapes, in rational thinking, the same way it is in nature. The wood energy is so abundant, there's so much diversity, so it makes so much choices. And we discover all the time new. I remember some vegetables who were growing in my childhood don't exist any longer. The carrot we eat doesn't have the same taste. It's not the same, than 50 years ago. I remember peppers, called the bell peppers. I remember when I grew up, we didn't know if they were going to be spicy or not. It's true. I'm getting a little old, maybe, but I remember that, and sometimes, this one is spicy. You're never going to find any spicy bell peppers any longer, because they got a variety that's always going to be sweet, period. So, but if you grow your own peppers from seeds, not the seed you buy because they're all the same, but the seed you grow yourself from your own vegetables, you're going to see that your vegetables are going to start to regress the way they used to be. You do that if you have a garden. If you have a garden for several years, you'll be able to grow new varieties of vegetables, and you think that, that's new. No, actually, that's older. The nature is going back the way it used to be. So you're going to develop your peppers, going to have more taste, more spicy taste. Apples is like extraordinary apples because of it takes only one generation. If you grow apple tree from the seed from any apple, you don't know what kind of apple tree is going to grow. That's so fast, the change. You might grow an apple tree that apples don't taste good. And to develop an apple tree that have a good taste, it takes years and generations of crossbreeding and all that in order to get those good apples. So apple tree, usually I recommend don't start from seeds. You start from a small branch that you grow roots from, or you have to graft You have to graft. Trees, easy to graft, so we do that. Same thing with your mind. Your mind works exactly the same way. So connecting with the past, but bringing to the future, but try to bring in the future this tradition, this specificity in your culture that you feel that so good. It brings that richness, that brings that more wealth into the widest, gives a wider spectrum of choices in terms of what you want to bring for the future generation, what they have to choose from. Because if we continue to bring only things from the past that we're afraid of, or we are so afraid of that we're getting the things more and more sterile and tasteless, then we're going to bring maybe we think we're going to be a safer future by doing things more much milder. But what's a life without spice? Make sure that we don't lose the spice. We can actually cultivate the kind of spice, the kind of taste that you want the future generation to enjoy. So make sure that when you filter the water, you don't get pure water out. Because pure water, again, is sterile. And, people, it's poisonous. Oh, we have been lost. No. I got the message from Melissa. Maybe that's your connection, Melissa. That's yeah. Okay. Am I back? Okay, good. Okay. All right. So this is from Yang and the rational thinking, the knowledge, everything we learn, things that we try to remember, things like that. That's part of rational thinking. So all the parts of the mind that requires to step out of the present because it takes reflection. It takes even if you get things that that's another extraordinary part of rational thinking. It can give you such a vast range of possibilities that it steps out of what's possible. A pure imagination. It's fantasy. And that's great. I mean, it's no problem. It's kind of, woo, you get into that place. It's very entertaining, it's good. But again, you have to keep the perspective, from the central earth intelligence. That's what it is. This is just fantasy. You have to be connected with what's real and what's not. Because if you connect with what's not real, you might very well bring it into your future again. It's a law of attraction. You attract where you put your mental energy on, where you put your attention. So be able to connect from your rational thinking, from your knowledge, what you want to bring in the future. Connecting with what kind of knowledge is worth transmitting. What knowledge is worth putting your attention on. And that starts, your future starts right here, right now, in the present. That works? So basically, that's why wood has to be exposed to the sun in order to grow. And the wood needs light and it grows. And that's the surface. So that's what we bring as an image. I am, basically, I am is the product of a culture. So for education, of what I build myself in terms of knowledge, in terms of belief system, and all that. Okay? All right. Moving to the yin part, and that's the most interesting part. And from rational thinking, it's actually bothersome. Talking about the emotional side of ourselves. And so actually, the superficial parts of rational thinking The more superficial we get, the further away we get from the center, from the emotions. And that's actually a good, convenient way not to be in touch. I have important thing to think about. I don't want to pay attention to my feelings. That's a natural biological reflex. It's not so much of a choice either. That's what we do all the time, every day, when we need to be very active. You have a job to do, you have responsibilities and everything. So you need to forget about the presence yourself, within yourself. You have to basically forget about your needs. You forget you're hungry or thirsty or you need to go to the bathroom. You need to get the job done, okay? So the energy goes to the surface, the functioning surface, and you function. That's good. That's okay. But you don't work all day long without stopping all the time. You need to rest. What is resting? Resting is allowing that energy to let go of the superficial part and go into the internal, most essential part of your mind. And the surface is substantial. That's what you manifest as a belief system and as a creative person doing something. And inside, that's the way we feel about it. So that means what? That means it's very important to do things and to accomplish things and to learn things that are in agreement with how we feel about them. And that's the biggest problem with rational thinking, that doesn't want to have any limits. Rational thinking wants to keep growing, keep growing, keep growing. Metal is going to cut, cut, cut. So rational thinking doesn't like it. I don't want to feel bad. I need to think. I need to understand. I need to pay my taxes. I need to calculate. I need to know and all that. I cannot afford to be sentimental, to have emotions right now. So I don't want to be, because those emotions is going to change the behavior I have into something that I don't want to. I want to finish my job right here, right now. I want to do this. Okay. So that's basically the basic conflict we have a tendency to always throw ourselves in. And from that emotional perspective, that's a lack of self-respect. That's pathology. And unfortunately, that's something we have learned from the youngest age in this civilization. We learn to disrespect ourselves by giving priorities to what is important to do. And not to do in the present, to do in the future. Because when we think, we're always ahead of ourselves. We're always to think what to do next. And we lose the perspective of what's going on in the present, which is very convenient because that's where the emotions are. The emotions are present, okay? And especially when we don't feel so good, called physical level or, called emotional level, it's the same. It's feelings that are present. So the more we think, the more we step out of the present, the least we feel. So it's very convenient. So that's why we actually are well-being, this civilization, the civilization of intellectuals. I would call it intellectuals. Why? Because we cannot stop thinking. We put all energy, all mental energy into thinking. That's basically thinking. Mostly we use for problem solving. That's what we've been spending so much energy in. So when it becomes habit, a whole life becomes a problem. So we can solve it. We try to solve our lives. That's crazy. That's insanity. It cannot be solved. Life is not a problem to solve. Life is to be enjoyed. That's different. And rational thinking is not with that. Because the big problem with rational thinking is not present. So it cannot enjoy life. It cannot make you enjoy life. All you get out of rational thinking is we call mental satisfaction. I was right. Whoa, yeah, that feels good, to be right. But where does that feel good? Where is it in your body that feels good? It's a very small restricted part of the brain that feels like, oh, yeah, I was right. But at what price were you right? And what's happening? Do you want to be right or do you want to feel good? That's a very important question always to keep in your mind. Because again, what is right today might not be right tomorrow. That's become an old leaf that's going to fall off the tree. It's not about being right that's important. What's important is to feel right. So very important to connect with feelings. So as a member of this Western, civilization, most important is to change the habit, mental habit of asking yourself instead of so much, what do I think? What do I think about this? Ask yourself, how do you feel about it? And automatically you have two different questions there. What you think, maybe, oh yeah, that might be very interesting. But the feeling you have in there, but is that responsible? Maybe someone's going to get hurt if I do that. Or maybe I'm going to get hurt. Or I'm going to regret it if I do that. So feelings. So that's the myth of cutting wood. This possibility, not so much a good choice. It could be very interesting in terms of, whoa, yeah, that could be spectacular. A big explosion. Ooh. Yeah, but what's happening when something explodes? So again, so using that inner power we have of emotional power to be present, to bring what you think about. Is it functional? Do we need it? Is it something that contributes to the enjoyment of life? So that's how emotional life has to be used. And of course, because we're the civilization that's bringing a lot of problems from the past, we're bringing things that a rational mind takes as a problem to solve. That's going to keep you very busy, but busy on problems not solvable. Because again, we can't even make a problem out of emotional issues. It's impossible to solve something that's not rational. So, bad news and a good news. The good news is that emotions, you cannot make problems. So there's no problems. Okay, so that's the good news. So don't try to solve emotions. You're losing your time, you're losing your energy. It's not going to work. The bad news, there's no problem, but there's no solution either. So yes, very important to forget it. Don't try to solve. You're losing your energy, you're getting exhausted just on something that's impossible. It's not designed for that. Now, your rational thinking is going to give you more and more possibilities, and you're going to get more and more exhausted trying one after the other. So that's not the right approach. So what do you do then with emotional issues? Cannot solve them. So we outgrow. It's outgrowing. There is crisis. I mean, life is difficult for everyone. I don't know anyone who has an easy life. Life is not designed to be easy. It is only designed to be enjoyed. Is that the effort we have to put in our life, making sure that that priority has to be met. We are able to enjoy life and to share this enjoyment of life. You just don't share life and make it, difficult. Have a difficult life to share. You want to share good life. So what does that take? So you're in crisis. What you gonna do? So there is only one way. Don't look for a solution. Look for a way to outgrow the situation. And we're designed for that. That's the biological fact. That's the beauty of life. We grow. We're designed to grow from what we call adversity. There's always adversity in life. But some gets more affected than others according to three factors: the energy you have, the support system you have, and your level of maturity. Those are the three factors required in order for you to grow as a person. And how do you grow? The same way you grow at the biological level, at the strict physical level. You need to absorb. You need to swallow. You cannot just push back the adversity in life. You need to grow out of it. So basically, we need to be able to digest those emotions. And this is literal. We take what we need, so we can discard, we can eliminate what we don't need. And what we absorb makes you grow as a person, gives us maturity. And maturity is, of course, a progressive thing. So we keep only grow and grow. The same way we can get, we get more and more rational, intelligent. We learn more. The same thing at the emotional level, we acquire more and more maturity. What is more maturity? Is be able to face life better, be able to enjoy life better no matter what. Meaning that not being affected by adversity any longer. Be able to extract out of this reaction to adversity the very emotion we need to grow and to outgrow the situation. Very difficult. It's the hardest thing we have to go through life. And that's why we call metal. The metal elemental force is the force that's the hardest to deal with. And it's like in nature. Wood, you can just pick it up. Fire is right. I mean, you take it the way it is. Water, well, you may have some work and you have to filter it out. But sometimes, hey, you find a spring, pure water coming out. Great, it feels so good. You're never going to get metal ready to use coming out of nature. What do you use metal for? Metal, first you have to dig it. You have to dig, you have to extract it from the earth. So you extract actually even from the past, especially. What you're looking in California, looking for gold, and people go in water. they sift the sand, get the nuggets out. So you have to dig. You have to go in water. You have to go in the ground. Basically, you're seeking things to grow your soul from the past. And we digest. We digest. That means we're digesting. I tell you, a lot of emotional issues we're dealing in the present, they existed way before we were born. So we're not really, we call responsible. Out that we're responsible for. Yeah? Question? Oh, internet connection. Stable. Okay, I wait. Working? Okay. So I repeat. So a lot of emotional issues we are dealing with is actually coming from our past. It's older than we are. So we're not responsible for them. We just create situations that bring it out so we are able to heal from them. We need to outgrow, and we need to be able to do things that our ancestors were not able to face even. So that's the essential mental work that's on the table, the emotional level, the most essential, the deepest part of ourselves. We are, the essence at the core of our mental consciousness. Oh, there is an echo. Someone is talking? Any other question? No, because there's something. Okay, so really that's the core of what we call self. Self is not so much constituted of what we believe, but is deeply constituted of the way we feel and the way we are made to feel, because we're not all responsible from the way we feel. But what we're responsible is to create a situation that allows us to enjoy life, so we can bring that enjoyment of life into the future. And that's called healing process. Healing process is to be able to outgrow the adversities, to outgrow what results from those adversities at the soul level, in order not to be able negatively affected by them. And this is what we need to bring into the next generations, into the future. The capacity to always improve life, improve the quality of life, and to be able to enjoy it better. So unfortunately, we live in a civilization that make us look at the future as being like hell on earth. It's like with scarcity, with the loss of biodiversity, and with all those things we put in our heads and that we created because we bring from the past. And the more we focus on that, the more we bring it into the future. So make sure that we're changing habit. Changing habit, instead of thinking about how dark the future is going to be, to be, how we can improve the future. There's so much more, there's so much improvement that comes all the time. But we rarely get it out of the news, especially out of TV, because good news is not that entertaining. We're made to get entertainment out of disaster. If you go to YouTube, it's crazy. That's another thing that people go crazy about. They don't stop watching TV. They start to watch YouTube. It's even worse. People spend a whole night looking at disasters on YouTube. People filming disasters. No, go to the good news channels. Go to a place where there's enjoyment of life. There's so much more. There's music in there, there's art, there is education, there is technology, there is all kinds of things that we can thrive on and really enjoy and bring to future, instead of dragging back always adversity in front of us into the future. So that's a very important part of why the mind has to be differentiated clearly in order to be able to get a better future. Because we are educated, we're designed to be stuck in the past. And not only the good part of the past, but the worst. So we create a bad future all the time. So be aware of the habit. And you're going to see, you're going to catch yourself, wow, this is what I do with myself. And that's okay. That's how we heal. In terms of healing, everything is based on pattern of habits. The disease, or physical or mental, whatever it is that you're experiencing in the present, you're doing everything that's required for it to develop. We're creating it, and especially chronic things. What is it? So the idea is what is it in my pattern of habit that creates the crisis? And then try to do things differently. And that takes time, that takes work. That's the called healing process. Healing doesn't happen just like that, but it starts in the present. It starts right away when you start to differentiate in your mind, wow, this is the past, this is the present that creates, and that's the future I'm creating. So what do I have to do? Filtering out the water, taking only the very best. So yes, of course, every day we have all kinds of problems with adversity and everything, but make sure that at least you spend equal time of quality feelings. You live in a place where your crisis, I mean, if something happens, it's horrible. Don't marinate on it all day long. Step out of it. Go out in your favorite place, go get in front of a nice landscape, absorb beauty, say, wow, yeah, the world is much more than just whatever problems, you talk about problems to solve. No, there's no problem. It's just life. And life is created every day at every moment in the present. So if in the present you live, there is like you in hell, it's like, wow, adversity. Make sure you don't stay connected all day long with that. Start to thrive try to get at least equal time. And then eventually, once you are able to do that, then you have less time into adversity and more time into life enjoyment. This is how you create a better future. So if you have to have a job that you don't like, but you really need economically, really need to do that, well, make sure that when you're off, you do something you really like. Spend time in a good place, in a favorite place, and close to nature. Grow a vegetable in your backyard, or even on your window. Grow flowers or something. Something that really connects you with life enjoyment. So, and that's a very important differentiation we do with what we believe, rational thinking, belief system, and how we feel, and how we create our lives like that. That works?
Eric, did that help with your question, or would you like to clarify or ask? No, good. Okay.
Any questions? Yeah, any questions? It's a good time.
Widad is asking about air. Is air metal, like oxygen?
No. Air is just air. Okay. And metal is not scrap metal. Okay. It's the power. We're talking about energy here. So I know that Ayurvedic, remember that Ayurvedic is India, coming from India, right? And India has been under 300 years of British occupation. So they had a long time to adapt belief system and thinking and changing, paradigms. That's the big problem. When we talk about the elements, we're not talking about elements. We're talking about elemental forces. So elemental force of earth is not the dirt under your feet, even though that dirt under your feet is constituted from that energy. But the earth energy is what allows the whole of existence to take place. It's here and now. It's a whole space-time continuum. It's not only planet Earth. It's not only the whole of the universe, but whatever contains existence itself. So it goes way beyond just dirt. Metal is not only air, and in the Ayurvedic system, it's not air. It's actually what they call ether. There's air and ether. So from, of course, there is some Ayurvedic system that's really been anglicized. There's only 4 elements. And they drop ether, it's bothersome. And no, it's still 5 elements. So the system with air and ether, we can look for translation, but it's not the point. But ether is a very important concept to me because it represents space. It's not only the air. But what is space? From a Western perspective, space is a nothingness. Well, that nothingness from Asia doesn't exist. Emptiness is full. It's full of emptiness. Even air, it's molecules in there and everything. So basically, ether is the space, is the surface contact. And what is the surface? Well, any surface is a thickness. That's what actually they're discovering right now on water. The 4th quality of water. It's not only a vapor, liquid, and ice. There is a different state, extraordinary state of water. And that's what allows those bugs to glide on top of water. And the surface contact is very, very important in water. And it's sticky. Even though same molecule underwater on the surface, no. The surface of water is different than underwater. That's why you can float. So anyway, we can talk about that more. But the surface contact is, see, that's the surface contact in between my hands. That's ether. And that's also metal. So the metal energy, that's what gives you a shape. With an expression. What makes the universe, you look at the whole landscape, see how beautiful it is. That's metal. And if you talk about scrap metal, about the metallic stuff, what is the first use of metal? Jewelry, makes you look good. It's about looking good. It's about bringing beauty to the world. That's the power of metal. So that beauty is to come inside. Is that beauty you feel when you're honest with yourself. Being true to yourself makes you shine like a jewel. That's something that our civilization has lost. Because the power of truth, the power of being true to yourself. And that's your breath. As someone, is that you, David, putting that message on being breath in the lungs? The way you breathe, that's the way you feel. And how do you feel alive? How do you feel alive? You breathe it in. You breathe in life. And that gives you that surface contact within yourself that separates every single part of yourself, every single cells. We call connective tissue, all the fascia that wraps everything, that surface contact of all the organs, of all the cells and everything. And that's where the metal is the conductor. It's the conductor of energy. And that's a big role of metal. Metal in the universe carries the energy of life, all the energy. Earth, fire, water, wood energy, all that runs through metal. And that's why all those quality of energy is represented in the way you look. You have the shape of your energy. The energy gives you the shape, and that shape is metal. Very difficult concept to grasp for Westerners, but for most Asian people, it's taken for granted. Yeah, it's we call, true holistic perspective of life, and the whole of it. Your inside shines out on the surface. That's the why you wear jewelry. If you noticed, jewelry you have to try. Some say, oh, this looks so good. You put on yourself, it doesn't look so good on you. Why is that? Because that jewel doesn't belong to you. For a jewel to look good on you, you have first to look good inside. So you find the jewel that matches that part of you. Then that makes you look very good. But you take out that jewel, you still look good. Yeah, some people are very ugly. They put all the jewel they can find and still look ugly. Beauty has to come from inside. You have to make yourself look good from the inside out. That's the yin power of metal that's able to shine the light. That's metal. Quality of metal is to be able to shine. And so people always ask me, what's the color of metal? It's metal. What's the color is your car? That's the color. What color is your jewel? Yes, that's the color. So it's the capacity to shine out the color. Okay. Does that answer the question? I hope. How much time do we still have? Ooh, yeah, a little more than half an hour. That's good because we have a practice to do. So let's get into the practice of that axis, soul axis, from wood to metal, metal to wood, rational thinking, and metal. And we're going to get into the function, how they are designed to interact. Because a big problem we have in our civilization is that we made everything a crisis. So that's the main source of what we call internal conflict. We think a certain way and we feel differently, either put ourselves in conflict. No, we're not, here, you don't want to make your body a battleground. We want to develop inner peace. Inner peace develops with the capacity to have a good relationship between your belief system and the way you feel. Okay? So let's practice, then we talk about it. So breathe, sinking as you inhale, and be able to understand, connect with metal, and the capacity to connect, to be in touch, touching. So what you be in touch mentally brings you in touch at the feeling level. Connecting, we're connected with the zone of influence. It's not about trying to understand and remember what it is, but how you feel about it. How you feel and be able to wear a shirt you didn't make. Someone made it for you. Oh, great. No way I could make that shirt myself. No way I can grow the cotton. No way I can, I mean, it's fantastic. We live in a place, humanity is really refining itself. Be able to connect to a place where it's all connected and supportive. Someone I don't know get me to have that shirt here. Whoa. No problem. You're doing things yourself that's affecting other people that you don't know. That great, getting great benefit out of what you do. Doesn't matter what you do. So connecting with the way you feel from your zone of influence, from your earth right here, right now. Because that feeling lives in the present. So it's not stepping back into thinking. Get into feelings. I am and I feel. So I am, that's earth, intelligence. I am, I do. I am the product of the past, of my education, of my culture. I'm here as earth. But I feel this way about it. So feeling, choosing, and that's the metal, it cuts, it sizzles, it makes things beautiful. So make sure you take only the very best. Choosing what allows you to feel good from your existence. And the most positive aspect of it, the most beautiful, and allowing you to connect with, oh, what can I do to make it even more beautiful? That's something you can do every day for yourself to make life more enjoyable, to participate in cultivating the joy of life. It doesn't matter how much crisis you're in and everything. Make sure you spend more time during the day, not to marinate into bad feelings, but to look at the way existence is. There's some good news out there. Some people doing beautiful things, and things being done for you. The shirts you want to get, whatever, the food you want to eat, someone else did it already. That's what a gift. And the gift of having a rich network of support around us. And once you connect with something that's more satisfying, satisfaction comes from the earth intelligence. When you get a satisfaction out of feeling good about yourself, or what's done to you, what's going on to you, or, there's not only the bad things, the bad things can go, but hey, let's connect mentally to the very best. Once you start to feel more satisfied, then you realize that you don't need to think so much. Just allow yourself to be. Nothing to solve. And then something extraordinary starting to happen at the mental level. Once you realize, when you stop putting the energy out of solving anything, then rational thinking starts to take its natural function. The natural function of rational thinking, again, is to step out of the present and contemplate. See, whoa, this is not bad. This is beautiful. This is very satisfying. Being able to validate what is. And it's to validate everything. So about perception. This makes me feel good. This makes you feel bad. But no judgment. Don't look for solutions. It's just the way things are. So very important to step out of the habit of shoulds. Shoulds and would or should be, or no, just the way things are, just the way they are. And we have to connect with what it is I can be doing to make it better. More satisfying, more enjoyable, more beautiful. Taking a breathe, putting some fresh air in there, some oxygen, exposed to the sun, to light, filtering out the old water. Taking only the very best. And connecting with what is, not fantasies, not phantasm. And that's how we're falling back again onto the game of being out of touch with oneself. No. Doing every day something, and especially for earth, for your body. What you eat every day has to be satisfying. Make it beautiful to look at. Make it very satisfying. So very down to earth things that is to be accomplished in the present. And so just by doing that, you say, okay, life might be difficult right now, but hey, I have a good meal. Hey, look, I have a nice landscape in front of me. Oh, this is beautiful to look at. Oh, there is a flower there. All kinds of things to connect in the present with beauty. So very important aspect of rational thinking that needs to move from problem solving and criticizing into validation and perceiving what is. That's positive, that's beautiful. And then from the emotional perspective, very important mental function of support of the rational thinking. Being able to choose only the very best. Cutting out all those possibilities that's ugly, that's hurtful, that's not nice. All those pattern of thinking habits that brings, the difficulties in the world. Always fighting. No need to fight. Again, the very basic principle of martial art. It's not the art of fighting, it's the art of winning. If you don't enjoy life, you lose. It doesn't matter what happens. If you enjoy life, you win. Most important, it's not rational. It's not about deserving. It's not about should or not should or what is right. All this can change in an instant. What's right one day is wrong the other day. And most important is make sure you're able to enjoy and share enjoyment. Even the smallest detail, so important. So very important mental function of the emotional intelligence is to be able to look at all the different possibilities offered by rational thinking and take out what's ugly, take out what's not responsible, take out what doesn't feel good, it's not going to make other people feel good, or yourself, whatever. It's not responsible, doesn't contribute to beauty and enjoyment of life. Trimming the wood. And what happens to wood when you trim it? It grows even healthier. It grows more beautiful. It grows even bigger. So don't be afraid. It's not about only cutting out possibilities. It's growing better ones, better choices. Whatever it is that's going to contribute to a better future. That starts now. It's what I'm doing now that's creating my future. So very important parts, feel it, your emotional, the way you feel in the depth of your heart. That's what you want to share, beauty. Well, it feels beautiful, and not only the physical level, but the mental level. You want to shine the honesty that you develop, being true to yourself, sharing the truth, sharing the honesty, sharing beauty. And from rational thinking, looking back at the emotional level, if you, yes, that's right. There's no other choice but to feel that way. That's okay. Nothing wrong. And given what's going on, you have to feel that way. It wouldn't be not right not to feel any different. But there are also more possibilities. There is possibility to feel much better, to feel, to have a wider range. In terms of feeling, you have all the full range of possibilities in the present. To feel the most helpful way. At the same time, you could feel ecstatic about other things. So make sure you're spending more time on the ecstatic. You're always going to find horror in the world, but don't marinate in it. Go into beauty. So be aware now of your mental axis, both spiritual and mental emotional, solidly connected in your body, your center, to the earth, here and now. You have the past in your back with all that water. And that water so rich, and life is coming out of it. And that water coming to earth makes your wood grow when exposed to the sun. So your belief system, your rational intelligence is going to grow better under good earth, good water, good sun. With this extraordinary, exquisite capacity for metal, for improvement all the time, refinement, being able to trim out whatever doesn't look so good, and you create a garden, called Garden of Eden, creating your paradise. Heaven is what you create out of getting rid of anything that doesn't feel right. And you don't only get rid of it, you outgrow it. So spiritual aspect from the past, the ancestry, and everything that's given to you, all the heritage, and all the heritage is some good, some no good. Extracting the very best. And make it shine in the present using metal. I'm proud of this. The sense of pride, that's metal. And like a medal. And you can be proud even, of the worst things. I mean, you got a broken heart or whatever, you have a big scar. Well, you can wear that big scar like a medal. You've been there, done that. Makes you a hero. That's okay. But make sure you outgrow. You're not being proud of fighting. You're proud of now being able to live in peace about it. You bring yourself to peace. No more enemies. Being able to connect with the whole humanity friendly. Expanding your network. Positive support. Cooperation. So using that metal to make your zone of influence ever more beautiful. So your own appearance makes your the landscape around you look even better. And developing the most positive aspect and refining it, make it shine like jewelry. That's metal. And using that rational thinking from the surface, wow, you get your belief system very enriched here. You learn something very important. Let's use it. So looking back at those emotions, say, whoa, this is quite beautiful. It's quite of a nice to be able to feel that way. Participating to a more enjoyable life, more beautiful life, creating a better life for the future. Being able to validate the full spectrum of emotions. So you have so good and you have not so good. We call that's enlightenment, putting things to light. Enlightenment, not so. People think, oh yeah, enlightenment. It's not. You don't want to be blinded by enlightenment. Enlightenment is more light, not on your eyes. It's more light out there. So you are able to see the most beautiful things, but also the most ugly things. It takes a lot of energy to take the ugly. And the more you're able to take the ugly, the wider the spectrum, the more beautiful you can reach. Now, we're prisoner as a Western civilization of very narrow range of perception. Because we don't want to look so ugly. Well, we cannot appreciate beauty either. We need to widen the range. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to cry. The more you cry, the louder you can laugh. It's okay. The more ugliness you can take in life, the more beauty you can perceive. So expanding the range, so eventually everything cancels out into something that makes you very solid emotionally and beautiful at the same time. So you digesting the ugliness, digesting the pain, the conflicts, everything that's not enjoyable in life. And filtering out only the very best, bringing to the future. So two mental aspects, two mental, I mean, directions, we call the axis. So temporal axis, spiritual axis from past, present, future, and then axis that's all in the present. And it's not so much left and right, it's from the inside out. From the outside, be able to look inside and connecting with, eventually we work with dreams and the dream state. But the good dream, get the good dream out. In order to bring good dream out, you have to get rid of those nightmares. And nightmares, you get rid by digestion. And you need to extract and break down all the negativity in there into individual particles that's actually discharged from negative energy. And that all becomes good water, good energy. The water is the same. Sometimes it's poisonous. So, you don't want to drink that water from the past. It's too much poison in there. So you filter it out, you expose to the sun, you run oxygen in there, the same water you can drink. Water is the same water, keep coming back all the time. It's naturally purified. So we have that capacity, but we have to do it. It cannot be done for us. So we're here for that. So two axes, one directional and dimensional and space and time, and spiritual we share, and the personal, the soul we develop and we enrich all the time. That's diamond we're creating inside of us and always refining it, make it always more beautiful. Okay. Questions? Thanks about practice. Now, if you have questions, you don't need to be into the, once you're part of the circle, membership, the Tao Touch circle, you can always send questions. You can email is the best, because of course, there is a time factor in terms of difference of time all around the world, but the email can be responded according to everyone's good time. So emailing is good. So if you have questions, don't hesitate. And I advise keep reading and read again these little booklets on the differentiation of the mind, because it's probably more information in there that I can give in a couple of hours like that over a lecture. But what we do here during class, this is not in the book. What we do might be written in the book, but what we do is integration of information. That's how the transmission of that information is done, is by contact. And again, it's metal. It's that the bridge of communication that we reach. That's the ether through the internet, electronic. But there is a surface contact there. It has to have a connection or no contact. So the beauty of the internet, that's the way it could be used, but we use as a contact that you don't have only through the book or the booklet. So the booklet, you get the information, and through the class, so the Zoom class, you get to experience. And eventually you come for like a live seminar, where we can really get together, and then and then you get another more surface contact, more substantial contact that allows you to integrate at a higher level. Okay. How much time left?
14 minutes. We do have a question.
It's time to answer questions.
Can you repeat the 3 things we need to grow when you were discussing wood right before the meditation?
The 3 things you need to grow.
Maybe it was
healing. It's about healing. Yes. The three conditions, basically. That's for anything, in any situation. In order for you to grow, as a person, you have to have the energy for it. You cannot grow out of weakness. So for that, that's your diet. That's the way you breathe. That's the energy that surrounds you, that you absorb, that makes yourself. So be able to cultivate health in yourself, very important, and to have positive energy. So you can face whatever adversity is in there. But yourself is not enough. You need a support system. Why you need a support system, especially when you become weak. So it's to give you the added energy that you need. And big part of the healing process, especially for people that want to learn Tao Te Ching and Sound, is be able to surrender to the healing process. If you need to allow yourself to go through the disease, if you need to recover from it. So you have something serious, you need to have support. You someone to cook for you, someone to take care of you, support system, someone to go do the shopping for you. I mean, whatever it is that you need in order for you to put full attention, undivided attention on yourself, on your health at the internal level. So support system, very important. And then the third factor, of course, is the maturity that allows you to heal without having to suffer. We don't need to suffer to heal. So we have to be able to direct our personal evolution in a way that we can absorb like bite-size adversity, so you don't have to choke, on anything. And so we be able to cut down, we have to break down things, and that's how we need the support system. We need our personal energy, and acquiring that progressivity, that maturity, to be less and less affected by the negative aspects of existence, and be able to eventually face even more adversity and be able to overcome all the time with less and less suffering. Does that answer the question? Okay. Oh, I see there is another question. Kara, somehow there's some question that appears on my screen. Do we need, I just have only 3 words. Do we need experience something? I don't know what it is. Do you have the question?
Yeah, my question is, do we need consciousness to know what we're filtering out? Or
no. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. When how do you know that you heal from something? You wake up in the morning, you don't know what happened, but all of a sudden you feel good. You don't know. The same way we don't need to know what to digest. Your body's going to digest it. Actually, it's so complicated. There's no way that your mind is it's not his job, his mind, to know how much vitamins I need to take. Your body's going to extract all of the food. Your responsibility is to eat what makes you satisfied. Okay? So same thing with emotions. You don't need to know what, that's why that notion of problem solving is absurd from the emotional perspective. Sleep over it. You're going to see that the big part of healing is done during sleep time, especially dream time. Dream time, that's the only time in your life where you can allow yourself to be 100% emotional. And fortunately, you're paralyzed in bed and you don't even need to remember your dream. It's still happening in your system, but you need to provide yourself, to give yourself that support. I need to sleep. But unfortunately, we are in a civilization of insomniacs, and that's why so many crazy people are there. They live into their nightmares. So consciousness is not only rational thinking consciousness. You need to acquire emotional consciousness. It is difficult because you don't learn that at school. Emotional consciousness basically is to give yourself permission to be in touch with the feelings you don't want to have. Is that interesting? Because the feelings you don't want to have, that's there in your body, you're protected by denial, and denial is made out of that rational thinking. that put everything under the level of consciousness because you don't have the energy, you don't have the maturity, you don't have the support system. So let's not feel that way. And that's good. Thanks God for denial. And we need it. It protects the weak, it protects the child, it protects the person that's not, I mean, we don't want to suffer. So consciousness comes as you have the capacity. And that's the beauty about healing. You never get a disease that you're not able to heal from. Because why suffer? It's easier to die. It's okay. And that death is not a pathology. It's okay. And in my opinion, I mean, it's better to die than to suffer. But if your body makes you suffer, it's because it knows. Your spirit knows. The spirit has no mercy. You know, I mean, it's crazy, but we have a life purpose. We have to go through things. And if you're never to do it, either you're in denial or you die. That's it, you know. But if you're in denial, it's because your body has patience. It knows that maybe later on with a little more maturity, with a little more better support system, with a little more strength, you're going to be able to overcome that and it will be able to heal from it. So you'll be able to live longer, it's okay, but with the hope and the faith in your capacity to heal. And again, you don't need to know exactly what to do. You have to be able to surrender to the process of healing. And that's why the support system is so important. To be able to just sleep over it, have your nightmares, and you not even need to have a nightmares, but process is done in the guts, at the guts level. When you sleep and you have big, an emotional brick in there, your guts go to spasm. That would be so painful to experience if you were awake. Fortunately, you're asleep and anesthetized in bed. And you're safe, you're in bed, you're okay. You're paralyzed, you can move, cannot jump, cannot kick. Sometimes you do, so be careful. Yeah. But that's the way of healing. That's the natural way of healing. And that's why it's so important to be able this differentiation of the mind into those different intelligences. So you'll be able to have a mental support system instead of internal conflict. And to turn internal conflict into self-mental support, into emotional solidity, into clear mind and rational thinking, be able to perceive what is, and to be able to accomplish right here, right now, the very best you can do with the experience you have from the past and the kind of future you desire. So very, very important. Does that answer the question?
We actually lost Kara there, but
oh,
it's
okay.
a great answer.
Very good. Very good. Okay.
Melissa was bringing up a topic, but I don't know if we have time to dive into that.
What is
Melissa?
Let's see. I don't remember exactly what I typed. Let's see. It was it was about you see the question, David? I don't even see it.
Yeah, I mean, we only have a few minutes, but maybe we can.
It's okay. It was just about the
you said I like that you mentioned the confusion between the chemistry and the alchemy and the origin of the spiritual dark age.
Oh, no, it's very simple. Don't worry about it. It's very simple. I can answer that in a few words. But I can go deeper into it if you send me the question into email, and I can answer more.
I wanted to read more. Is what when I was there, I was like, oh, I want to read more about it.
Okay. The main difference between chemistry and alchemy. Chemistry is about the periodic table, all the elements, whatever constitutes the physical world. And that's very important in chemistry. But there's no life there. Mm-hmm. It's not alive. Doesn't matter how much you put chemistry together and shake it, and even though some chemicals gonna be very explosive even for mixed together, you're still not gonna get life. And the true study of the origin of life is alchemy. Alchemy, as a difference of chemistry, is the study of the powers, of the forces that allow the chemistry to give out life. But life doesn't come out of chemistry. Life comes out of the power that gives life to chemistry.
So how did it start, the Dark Ages? Did people just focus on the chemistry, is what you were saying? And not
Exactly.
focusing on the alchemy or spirituality?
Exactly. Basically,
Okay, thank you.
alchemy, as you know, has been demonized.
Mm.
You picture the alchemists as people with pointy heads and little sticks trying to change scrap metal into gold, for profit. No, it's not that. Yeah. Actually, even it's going to be, alchemy comes to another demonized title called sorcerer.
Mm.
What is a sorcerer? Well, a sorcerer is someone that goes to the source of life. So the cultivation and the research for the source of life, the cultivation, this power of life, that's the job of the sorcerer or the alchemist, same thing, is to be in touch with the origin, with the source of life, and develop a good relationship in order to enhance the quality of life. Yeah. Answer the question?
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, good.
Thanks, David.
Yeah, it's great. We do have we're trying to start an online forum on the website. I've sent the link. I'll send it again. We can test
Thank
that
you.
out for questions and answers and a discussion with everybody.
Great.
Also, feel free to email, and we'll keep everybody updated on our in-person schedules and more online classes.
Sweet.
Very good. So
Thank you, thank
next
you, thank
Friday, do we have something for next Friday? We can do something? I don't
We
know.
hadn't talked about it.
I can go into the next booklet. I mean, the next booklet is ready to come out. It's about emotional healing.
I've unmuted myself to give a very strong vote toward meeting this way continuously.
Yes, please.
It's
I
very
agree.
powerful. It's very, very meaningful.
Okay.
Sounds like a lot of people are into it. So
Okay. Let's do it.
yeah, we'll send out an announcement ASAP.
Okay. Excellent.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes, we'll
Okay.
send the recordings, all the videos to everybody.
Beautiful.
All right, everyone.
Very good. Okay.
Thanks for
So
being
see you
here.
next time.
Next time.
All right. Okay.
Bye.
Have a good day, everyone, or good evening,
Thank
or
you,
whatever
Gilles.
good. Enjoy life.
Yeah.
All right.